Hello everyone, and welcome to the Three Guys Talk Film podcast, the podcast where three guys talk film. I'm George White, and I'm joined by...
Nathan.
And Chris.
So tell me a little bit about yourselves, guys. What's your favourite film and your favourite film fact?
So my favourite film is Guardians of the Galaxy, which tells you pretty much everything you need to know about me as a person. My favourite film fact is probably that in the original Blade Runner, when they were sort of making the model for the city, like the sort of like really long shot at the beginning, there's a round building in the corner, and the top of that is made from a model of the Millennium Falcon, which I thought was quite interesting.
That is pretty cool, to be fair. So my favourite film is Hot Fuzz, because who doesn't love British comedy starring Simon Pegg and directed by Edgar Wright?
Nobody.
Exactly. And my favourite film fact is that at the end of Die Hard, spoiler alert, like fast forward 30 seconds if you've not seen Die Hard, that Alan Rickman, when he was dropped from the top of the Nakatomi Plaza, was dropped a second before he was meant to be, so as they could get his genuine reaction. Which is why in the film he genuinely looks like he's about to punch somebody in the face, which is amazing. What about you, George? What you got?
My favourite film is Lost in Translation. Has been for a while, probably will be forever. And my favourite film fact is that Colin Firth did 80% of his own stunts in Kingsman, the Secret Service, which just shows you that he is an absolute god.
What a unit!
Yeah,
Colin Firth is. I did not know that. That man must be ripped, because he was like 50 when he did that film.
I was gonna say, he's not young anymore, is he?
No, he's not. He's no spring chicken. I can't do half the things he did, and I'm 24.
No. Exactly. That church scene.
Ooh, that church scene. It's all one shot as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
Banging.
So yeah, he is the legend that we all think he is.
Yeah, like props to Colin Firth.
Yes.
Our love goes to you, Colin.
I'm sure he's watching.
Please tweet back. Please respond to my fan mail. It's been years.
Anyway, so shall we do what we're here to do?
Yes, and what is it that we're here to do?
What we are here to do is to come up with a definitive list that no one can definitely argue with at all, apart from us.
Yeah.
About Star Wars.
And it'll be a list that no one will disagree with.
No, nobody.
Yeah.
Once you've listened to the end of this podcast, you'll be like, right, that's the definite. That's what we know that. So we've all come up with our own separate lists. For the purposes of the podcast, just so we could have a bit more fun with it. We don't know what the other person has put on their lists. So let's start at the bottom, shall we? And I think maybe we can at least have some agreement here. So I'm going to kick us off with The Last Jedi. The clue's in the title. It says last. It's the bottom. It's awful. Genuinely, I've got so many bad things to say about that film. I've never left a Star Wars film feeling so enraged. Like, I was so upset when I left that film. I literally remember getting 2/3 of the way through when you've got that like half quasi ending.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, there's more. And you're just like, but why? Why is there more to this film? Surely this film could have ended half an hour ago and I could have left a bit happier. But no, you're making me sit through Force Ghost Luke.
Force Ghost Luke.
Force Ghost Luke is the biggest canon-breaking thing they put in that film, and I'm still upset.
Yeah, actually, that reminds me that there were about 12 endings to that film, weren't there? Because
Yeah.
I remember sitting there, I'm like, this has been going on a long time,
Yeah.
and there's still loads more to go. And yeah, I agree with you. It's my least favourite, and I genuinely can't see why so many people love this film.
No.
I've seen a lot of people say it's their favourite of all time. I personally think that's because they like to be different, and they like to stand up for filmmakers.
Yeah.
I do think Rian Johnson got a bit too much abuse for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, he made some choices that you might not agree with, but at the end of the day, he doesn't deserve abuse for it. That said, it was a terrible film.
Yeah, I respect that he tried to do something different. The fact that he had, obviously, Finn and Poe basically doing nothing in that entire film annoyed me.
Finn especially.
Finn is literally just an animal rights campaigner in that film.
Yes.
The fact that you've got what is essentially meant to be a really strong like Jedi journey in that film, in Rey's journey coming through that film, and what she actually had was just a bit of a cry. She was a bit sad, and then they burnt a tree down, and that's it. That, if that's meant to be comparable to Yoda in obviously The Empire Strikes Back, it's just not. It just isn't, and it was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, I think the anticlimax of Rey's parents as well was kind of underwhelming. Like all this hype where they plant the seeds in Force Awakens. We finally get to The Last Jedi. We're going to find out who the parents are, and it's like, oh, they're just nobody.
Yeah.
But then we see the trailer for Rise of Skywalker, and they might be somebody. Like,
Yeah,
it's not actually my least favourite, but it's second bottom. So
Second one. So
yeah, so
through power of elimination,
I can accept it being bottom.
Last Jedi's at the bottom. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Last
Democracy
sucks
works.
the most.
Democracy works.
So on to film number 8. Obviously yours was Last Jedi. So what did you have bottom?
I had Phantom Menace at the bottom,
Thank you.
which I actually watched it last night, just to refresh, just to make sure that I did hate the film as much as I thought I did, and I do. George is fuming at me right now. The Fandom Menace.
Fandom Menace in the corner.
Yeah, please buy my T-shirt.
But yeah, it's obviously it was the first one of the prequel trilogy, so maybe they were just trying to like set themselves up or whatever. But there's so many things I don't like the pod racing. There's no reason for pod racing to go on for what feels like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Including like with like the race itself and the setup.
But think of the memes. Now
Yeah.
that's pod racing.
Yeah.
That's not a reason to save a film. Memes can't save
It's
films.
not just a reason to save the film; it's a reason to worship the film.
Okay. So we've obviously got a corner of ribbing Phantom Menace over here.
Yeah.
Why do you like it? Why is it supposedly a good film?
I think I like it personally because of the kind of politics of it is actually genuinely quite interesting and
Okay.
actually pretty well done. The script is atrocious, which lets it down. It is unsalvageable, I'll admit that. But the story is really good.
Mm.
I think if George Lucas had a bit less control over it, it might have been a good film.
Yeah.
Possibly.
And I do think Darth Maul is just an awesome bad guy. Okay, he's not the most talkative guy, but the fact that they got an actual stuntman in to play him, he's a big beast. His lightsaber is obviously one of the coolest, and that final battle scene is really cool. I think with that big twist at the end as well.
Yeah, the final fight between Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul, that is probably one of the franchise's best fights. It's just wasted, I think, in this film.
It does also have one of the coolest soundtracks.
It does.
In the
Yeah.
fight at the end, I'm not going to sing it.
The main line.
Don't want a copyright strike.
Well, we can if we sing it for like 5 seconds, but I'm not going to treat you to my out of tune singing of that awesome music.
Maybe next week, come back.
Yeah, stay tuned.
But for me, Darth Maul doing a couple of flips and a bit of cool music doesn't save it from being a terrible script.
So when I watched last night, the main line that stuck out to me was it was after they just left the underwater city where the Gungans live.
Yeah.
And like they could be attacked by a fish, and then a slightly bigger fish comes out and eats that fish, and Qui-Gon just goes, "There's always a bigger fish."
I mean, how can you not love that?
It's the fact that it's like
so easily.
Somebody watched that back after and went, "Yeah, great job."
A lot of people, I think.
Yeah, a whole team of people looked and went, "That's okay."
Yeah,
And now
that's what we want.
us fans, years later, are doing the same.
Yeah.
It's been a talking point. Cultural influence and whatnot.
So are we agreeing? I know you don't want to agree, George, but are we agreeing place number 8?
I will
Phantom Menace?
accept.
Okay.
Yes, second bottom.
At least it's not bottom. Most people put it bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
So-
true.
Yeah, so
You've been redeemed by The Last Jedi. Okay, so I've got a controversial one for number 8. I know you're not going to agree with me, but bear with me on this. I have a reason. Rogue One.
Yeah, that is also my 8th.
wow.
Oh, was it your 8?
It is.
Oh!
Yeah.
Why did I agree to do this with you two?
It's just when I look back at when I think Star Wars, Rogue One doesn't come to mind. It just doesn't come to. It wasn't memorable for me, apart from a few of the really cool scenes. And for me, Star Wars is all the Star Wars films, whether they are good or not, are memorable. But that one for me is probably the least memorable one.
Yeah, I know I've talked to you about this.
Yeah, you
I have a
mentioned
very specific reason for hating Rogue One. It's Forrest Whitaker's death. There's no need for it, right? You're just watching it, and all it is we need motivation that isn't Mads Mikkelsen. I know we'll kill Forrest Whitaker. And it comes out of absolutely nowhere. He's like, no, I can't get out of this burning building. Literally, the time it takes him to have that conversation, he could have got out of the burning building. So for me, it was just lazy writing. At that point, I would checked out that film. I was just, I'm not here for the rest of this film. And it was another hour and a half. I was stuck in that cinema watching dead post Forrest Whitaker life, and I didn't enjoy it. I really didn't.
Yeah, and for me, the only interesting character was Jyn Erso. I did like her as a character, but the rest were so forgettable. I think even the robot, the droid, who was pretty funny.
Oh, it's so sassy.
It's sassy, but there were no memorable lines from it. It's it's no C-3PO.
Yeah, so
Obviously, the franchise's best character.
this is breaking my heart because Rogue One is my second favourite Star Wars
Is
film.
it your second favourite? Okay, we might not have to put it at 8th.
Yes,
Then
yeah,
out of
that is
democracy.
correct.
I'll settle for a strong mid-table finish.
Okay, how about 7th?
Okay.
Should we put it 7th? 7th or 6th?
Yeah, I'll settle on 6th. I can
Sixth.
accept 6th.
Okay.
I'll
okay.
love Rogue
We're
One
going to have
so
to have a
much.
bit of a rejig. So
Yeah,
we've obviously got Rogue One at 6th.
yeah.
So we're going to skip back down
Sh-
to... No, 5th, did we say? Did you say 5th? or 6th?
I'll accept 5th. You said 6th earlier, but 5th's fine by me.
Okay, we'll go with
6th.
6th anyway.
Okay.
So we got Rogue One at 6th. So we've done 10, 9, so we're on to 8 now, which was meant to be Rogue One. But I'm going to put a pitch for Solo, the film no one wanted.
Yeah, I would counter that with Attack of the Clones.
Ooh.
Attack of the Clones is also my 8.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
okay.
my 9th.
Yeah,
So
purely for the sandline.
yeah,
Yeah, but bendy lightsabers in a cool arena scene.
Count
It
Dooku
is a cool arena scene.
Count
Yeah.
Dooku is a legend, and there are some interesting things with the clones.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
And
Jango Fett.
yeah, exactly. The Jango Fett Obi-Wan fight is pretty cool.
Yeah, the whole romance between Anakin and Padme just ruins it for me.
Yeah,
You know,
and Anakin.
when they're like,
Anakin ruins
like rolling through the grass.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that scene.
It's like, I mean, fair enough. Like Hayden Christensen had like a pretty big job trying to become Darth Vader essentially.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't work.
No.
And whoever wrote his lines, shame on you.
Yeah, they are.
I hate
It's bad
sound. It's
dialogue.
coarse and rough. It gets everywhere.
Incredible. How did it not win Academy Awards? Best screenplay.
Okay, so should we? Okay. After that, I concede Attack of the Clones is garbage. So yeah, let's put that at number 8.
I think that's
but
fair.
definitely Solo at number 7. I'm not
Yeah.
having Solo any higher.
Okay.
It is my 7th.
I think
so
so. Was 7 for me as well.
Are we?
actually.
I've got it at 7.
I think it's like it was 6 for me.
How
So-
did you have it at 6?
But purely because I was like you beforehand. I said like no one wanted this film. Of all the Star Wars characters, Han Solo probably has one of the most like complete arcs.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't need this film. But it was actually like it was just fun. Like it was good enough.
Was it?
Like it wasn't outstanding, but it wasn't like offensively bad like some of these other films.
To be fair,
are.
it was just an okay film.
Yeah.
It nothing groundbreaking. Didn't really take any.
But based on the
risks.
3 we've got at the bottom, I think an
Yeah.
okay film ranks somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
So.
but Phantom Menace at 6th for me. So I can't go higher than 7.
No, Phantom Menace is lower than that. We agreed. Now.
I know. I'm not going to argue it either. But just
No,
thought I'd-
just Solo for me. So my issue with Solo. So I only watched Solo recently. I've borrowed the DVD off you.
You did?
Which you bought on release day and didn't take out the wrapper, which I think says everything you need to know about that film.
Pretty much sums it up. Yeah.
But my issue with that film is I was watching it and I was calling literally everything that happened, number 1. And
Yeah.
number 2, and this is a very particular issue, we know Han Solo ends up with Leia, right? We all knew that going into that film. So why is his motivation in that film a romance subplot? Why? It
Yeah.
makes no sense. They basically, you can tell what they've done is gone, oh, we've got this new Star Wars film and Emilia Clarke's pretty good in Game of Thrones. We need a role for her. I know. Love interests, they're cool, right? They work. Let's do that. And no one actually considered like the fact that it bled into this new universe. And you can disagree with me if you want. And maybe say that like that's why Han Solo was alone for so much time and then he finally trusted again with Leia and all that nonsense. Which is not true. It's just the fact that he was having a jolly good time with Chewbacca.
yeah, which
Yeah.
we all would be.
Yeah,
let's be
who
honest.
wouldn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, Solo, best character in that film is Chewbacca. So why is the best character in a film somebody that just goes in the corner? It
Well,
shouldn't
that was
be.
spot on.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
thank you.
was
I've
pre-
saved that.
was
Yeah.
like, so
Saved that.
You've kept
Yeah.
that quiet all.
I have kept that really
Wow.
under wraps. My little Wookiee impression.
Well, that was impactful.
That was very
It
powerful.
stunned me to silence.
No, I know what you're saying though. Like, I think we talked about it the other day. Like, I think it's a prequel problem.
Mm.
When you already know where a film's going to go, it's really hard to have stakes.
Yeah.
So like, anytime that Han Solo's in any immediate danger, you know that he's going to survive.
Yep.
And it's tough. I also didn't need to see the Kessler Run.
No, I didn't want to know about the Kessler Run.
It's similar to like the Black Widow film that's coming out. Like apparently they're going to show us what Budapest is.
Why?
Like I don't like that can just be a cute little thing that they talk about, but we never like the audience don't need to know. That's what makes it. That's what makes it good.
A reference to prove this right is: have you all seen Gavin and Stacey?
No.
He literally just finished it last week.
Thank you. You won't understand this. You will.
Okay.
The
I'm
fishing
excited.
trip.
Yes.
Wouldn't it
Yeah.
ruin it if you knew what the fishing trip was?
Yeah, I hope they don't reveal it in the Christmas episode
Mate,
coming up.
They don't even know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're safe.
So we're fine. But that's the whole point. You don't want to know about these things. And the fact that we saw it and the fact that it was just a CGI eye in space and a bit of a wormhole was a bit naff. It was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, it wasn't as like epic as I think they thought it was.
So yeah, we'll stick with. I'm already lost already.
7.
So 7. So just to recap before we get any further. So we've got Last Jedi at 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Phantom Menace at 9th.
Yep.
Attack of the Clones at 8th. Solo at 7th.
Yes.
We had Rogue
Rogue
One
One
at
at
6th.
6th.
And
So
Rogue
we're
One at
blitzing
6th.
through
So we're
this.
at 5th.
So we're into,
Blitzing through it. 5th. Right, so I'm not going to tell my list. So who's got a 5th? Who's got a 5th?
purely because I can make a pun out of it. I've got Revenge of the 5th.
Hey!
I mean,
yeah.
ridiculous choice.
It's
but,
Travis.
You know, for the pun.
For the
respect.
pun alone.
So, yeah, that's what I live for, really. That's why I'm
Yeah.
on the show in the first place. Yeah, it's middle of the road for me, mainly because I think of the prequels, it's like clearly the best one.
It is.
It's still got the same problems that all the prequels have got, where there's some questionable acting, really questionable lines,
That's just Hayden Christensen.
terrible CGI, wasted villains, but it does wrap things up quite nicely, and it does feed into the original trilogy in a really nice way, and like gives Darth Vader a bit more than just bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives him more motivation. So I respect Revenge of the Sith. I just don't.
Yeah.
Revenge of the 5th.
Revenge of the 5th.
I'll put it 3rd, which doesn't really work for a pun, sadly. But yeah, like you say, easily the best prequel. And for me, one of the most interesting stories out of all the films, I think. In that, yeah, like you say, the kind of fall, you see the fall of Anakin Skywalker and the creation of Darth Vader, and some of the scenes, yeah, okay, the script is awful again, a lot of the time. But the fight... I mean,
Hello there.
yes.
Hello there.
I mean, okay, that's iconic, but yeah, I mean, and the acting, I can concede some of it is not great, but that fight scene on Mustafar, if that's how you pronounce it, just incredible. It goes on for like 20 minutes, and it took weeks to shoot, and it is just incredible.
Yeah.
With the big finish as well.
It's a good fight. Don't like the high ground. Don't like the high ground part.
Again, memes.
Yeah,
you know.
it's
over Anakin.
Star Wars might
Yes.
be the most memeable franchise
No,
in the world.
Exactly.
Revenge of the Sith is the most memeable.
Yeah, there's so many just from
Who
that.
quotes anybody? This is what bugs me about the prequels, right? I love that film. I adore that film. It's second on my list because I think it's a banging film.
Wow.
Yeah.
I absolutely adored that film. It was the first Star Wars film I saw in cinema, so it's got a bit of a nostalgia element as well. I will admit that, but I just loved it. I just absolutely loved it. And the thing is, can you quote the normal ones, the originals, like as well as you can quote Revenge of the Sith? The answer to that question is no.
No.
Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi is an absolute gift.
Yes.
Particularly with the beard.
Yeah, the
With
beard, mate. Like the beard is complete.
Beard, short hair.
Beard,
What
short
a
hair.
look.
Yeah.
It's just banging. Mace Windu versus Darth Sidious, like their little moral thing. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's getting to see Daddy Palp
Daddy
in his
Palp
prime.
Daddy
in his
Palp.
prime. In his prime.
He's great.
That's one thing that's always bugged me about the prequels. You're telling me that nobody noticed that Palpatine was evil? Like, he just looks so evil. No,
Yeah, but that's from a film point of view.
No good person talks like that.
Just join the dark side of the Force.
Are you saying that
Bless
you know bad people can get into positions of power?
Yeah,
No,
oh, that never happens.
That's not what I'm
That-
saying.
yeah, that's fair. That is
saying-
unrealistic.
It's a work of fiction, you know.
Party political broadcasting corner. So I think we're all gonna disagree on Revenge of the Fifth. It's
Yeah.
definitely not going to be fifth,
Okay.
No, it can't be.
despite
fifth.
the awesome pun.
It's got to be top 4 for me.
So what's going to
Wow.
be fifth? What's
A
gonna be
Champions
fifth, lads?
League place for Revenge of the Sith.
I'm going to pitch Return of the Jedi for 5th. It's easily
Okay.
it's easily the weakest of the originals for me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Return of the Jedi, I had that 7th.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
Purely for the Ewoks, like I'm not saying that like A New Hope and Empire were gritty and mature or anything like that, but I just think in the last sort of like 45 minutes of Return of the Jedi, it just breaks into a kids' film. It's just teddy bears throwing
It
rocks
really-
at robots,
Yeah,
like essentially.
yeah, I agree with that.
And the stormtroopers they get absolutely beaten by, like you say, rocks
Yeah.
and twigs.
So these are like rigorously trained
Yeah,
soldiers.
they're meant to be like the best fighters in the galaxy. Obviously, we never actually see that on screen.
well,
But
yeah,
in the
'cause they
originals,
said it.
but Warwick Davis in a suit can, you know.
I mean, I respect that. You know, got another bit of Warwick, but
Oh yeah, I mean everyone loves a bit of Warwick.
But,
He's a
yeah.
national treasure, but
yeah, the whole final act for that was pretty awful. And then again, they end with like a big medal ceremony
yeah,
because why not?
yeah.
Forgot about that ending.
Yeah,
Especially now that like the sequel trilogy exists, I feel like it just it doesn't it didn't have much effect at the time. It has even less effect now, I think.
so that's a clear fifth then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's probably
agree
done
with
well
that.
to get there.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, it's only fifth because everything else is worse.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
it.
That's literally the only reason. I'd put it lower, but it's
But by
beaten.
default.
Yeah, by default,
Yeah.
fifth place. So on to fourth. Now, I think we're going to have to mention A New Hope. Surely,
Yeah, mine
surely
is-
New
mine
Hope's
is
going to
A
be
New Hope,
fourth.
yeah.
It's New Hope's third for me, so
It's
I
got-
can accept fourth.
Because it takes a while to get going. It
Yeah.
does take a while,
It's where it all began, though. Like,
It is where it
Star
all
Wars
began.
wouldn't be what it is without
No.
A New Hope.
No,
so
definitely not.
which is why it needs to be in the top half,
yeah,
but just in the top half for me.
maybe it hasn't aged well.
No, it hasn't. And the weird Obi-Wan Kenobi death where he just stands there.
Yeah, where it just vanishes.
Yeah.
Which I thought would never be outdone until I watched Last Jedi.
Mhm.
So where
yeah.
he just fades away on a rock. But that's
Oh God! Why are you bringing that up again?
Yeah, we've left it at the bottom of the table, all right? It needs to die there.
Leave it there, because I'll just start ranting about that film again.
So the big question is New Hope or Revenge of the Sith?
It's New Hope, surely.
Again, democracy rules, right? We both vote New Hope fourth.
Yeah. Also, thing about the New Hope is if you could just watch from after Han picks Luke up, and it was that film, like 10 minutes before, and then Luke gets on the Millennium Falcon, it would be a lot higher for me. It's that beginning. It's that really slow, really like, oh, what are the Jedi? I've never heard of the Jedi before. But apparently they're this big thing that he should have heard of before. It's all very muddled and confusing. I don't think it really makes sense when you watch it as the whole. When it first came out, it probably would have been a lot higher. If we
Yeah.
could take this list as not all the Star Wars films and just when they happened, then I think it would be higher.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
because like you say, it started this big revolution. It was incredible in the fact that it got people going on sci-fi, which really hadn't happened that much before.
Mhm.
It's basically
No.
cowboys and Indians in space. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's got great lines like "You're a little short for a stormtrooper," or however she says it. You're a bit short, or whatever.
these aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids you're looking
Yeah.
for. Great,
Yeah.
classic lines, but it's dated. The ending is just predictable. We'll move on to that with Force Awakens as well. But for me, it's just a little bit rough around the edges to be any higher.
Yeah, I think
It
that's
doesn't
fair.
deserve a top 3 spot for me.
So, I put it
Yeah.
I'll put it third purely because I have Force Awakens at fourth.
Ooh.
Because Force Awakens is a carbon copy of A New Hope.
Right, we will save that. Put a pin in that.
Just
Put a
yeah.
pin in
Just put
that
it
for
out
a
there
moment.
now.
Put a pin in that for a
Okay.
moment.
You're going to let it fester.
Yeah.
you know,
You're going to
perhaps.
let that fester
Yeah.
for the fight of top 2.
The fight of top 2.
Because I think we can all agree now, if New Hope is fourth, that means Revenge of the Sith has to be third.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I agree with that, but I'm
Well,
tough.
democracy.
democracy.
means-
Why am I always on the wrong side of democracy?
Because you have the wrong opinion. That's how it
yeah,
works.
that's fair.
Uh,
That's probably fair.
Again.
That's probably
Again, yeah, definitely true in real life.
Just
isn't it?
wait. just wait until we do Marvel, and I make my case for Dark World being better than Ragnarok. You wait.
Oh.
Just wait.
oh, that's the wrong opinion right there. Chris Eccles. No, I'm not getting on that.
For next time.
For next time. Next time we do a ranking. So, moving on to the battle for top 2,
Which is going to be a toughie, I think.
which is going to be, if you've been paying attention, it's going to be Empire Strikes Back and The Force Awakens. What we got, lads?
Yeah, I mulled this over quite a bit, and in the end, in terms of pure enjoyment, The Force Awakens just pips it for me. I can accept that it's not the best story, but when I was in the cinema, I mean, I saw it 3 times in the cinema,
Yeah.
and I loved it every time.
I think I saw it 3 times as well.
Yeah, everything about it, the kind of cinematography was amazing. The characters were really interesting back then,
Yeah,
before they were
back then.
butchered. The score was incredible.
Mm.
And as a result, it's just Star Wars is about enjoyability, I think.
Yeah.
And putting it that way, it's got to be top for me.
I'd agree from the fact that when you were watching it, particularly you're watching it with so much potential. Less so now because obviously we know what came next, but that potential is still there. They could resurrect what they already had. Obviously, JJ's doing Rise of Skywalker. A lot of it's the same staff all coming back, so they could basically kind of like ignore The Last Jedi and bring back what they kind of had in The Force Awakens, which would be good. You've got Finn and Poe, who are really interesting in that film. Really, really cool in that film. Rey is actually quite interesting in that film, despite the fact that she gets really boring in The Last Jedi. You've got the fact that you see it from a stormtrooper's point of view, which we'd never seen before.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. I really enjoyed the gay vibe. I really hope they bring that back.
That would be great.
I just need Finn and Poe to kiss. That's all I need.
It's what the world needs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, did you see the interview with John Boyega when he was asked, "Were you playing it gay?" on Graham Norton? So he was asked, "Oh, Dana, were you playing gay?" And he went, "No, I wasn't, but I know Oscar was." And then it's on YouTube somewhere. They cut dramatically to Oscar and he's like, "Yeah, I played it gay." She's like, "Yeah, I totally went for that vibe." And I'm like, "That's exactly what we need." Because what I love about the new ones is they pick complete unknowns, really, apart from Poe, who had done a little bit before, but John Boyega and whatever her face is,
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley, thank you, I couldn't remember her name. They were two complete unknowns, and that's what Star Wars should be about. It should be about promoting, talent and focusing more on the story, more on the feelings and emotion. And I agree with you in the fact that the emotion from that film, I left loving Star Wars again. Which I hadn't for a long time because EA ruined it.
Another debate for another time.
Yeah, just
spin-off gaming podcast.
Spin-off gaming podcast, yeah. But I left loving Star Wars again. I felt like a kid again, and I can't replace that feeling for me. And Empire, I have problems with as a plotting. Yoda goes on for too long. I know people love Yoda. Yoda's great.
It's a particularly weird crackhead swamp Yoda.
Yes.
Yeah.
It goes on for too long. The weird bit where they don't really know what to do with Han Solo and Leia while they're waiting for the bit with Lando Calrissian to happen. They kind of put them in that weird eye thing in space, which is just a bit strange, like the monster in space. The Lando stuff is great.
Yeah.
And the bit where he gets frozen to carbonate is awesome.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Iconic. And you know why Han Solo dies in Force Awakens, don't you? Do we know this?
I mean, you got pushed off of a
No.
bridge, but
In terms of why it had to be written in.
no, I don't.
Oh, I love this fact. So
It should have been your film fact.
I know it should have been. Damn. The reason it got written in was because Harrison Ford was adamant that Han Solo should have died in Empire. He was like, it makes more sense story-wise. I'll only come back if I'm killed. He wrote it into his contract. He was like, I will only come back if I die. Wow. Which is amazing.
What a contract that is.
It's the most Harrison Ford move possible, really, isn't it? So, for me, Empire's got more problems than Force Awakens. Like you say, Force Awakens does rip off A New Hope. It does.
Yeah.
But it's a more polished version and better.
That's probably fair. My biggest problem with Force Awakens is that it is just that. It is the introduction back into Star Wars. And I think on the rewatch, obviously the first time you see it in the cinema, when you see the Millennium Falcon, you see Han for the first time, obviously that gets the nostalgia going. But on the rewatch, there isn't an awful lot of plot there. And it's a lot of things that we've seen before. Whereas I think that Empire is the most complete Star Wars film. As in, like, I obviously, like, at this point, everyone knows the ending of it, that Luke, I'm your father. But like we probably knew that as children before we even saw the film. But like imagine watching that in the cinema for the first time.
Yeah.
It'd blow your mind.
It would blow your mind.
So I just think that Empire is the most complete Star Wars film. Without Force Awakens, it is a complete Star Wars film, but it's a lot of what we've seen before. Whereas I think Empire treads more new ground.
I think it had to be, though, to get the fans back, because the fans hated the prequels because it was completely different, right? That's why a lot of people didn't like the prequels.
Yeah.
Personally, I love Revenge of the Sith. We all know this. But a lot of people hate the fact that it was different. You've got like General Grievous with his arms, the robot droids, all that stuff that people didn't really like. And for me, the fact that it brought all the fans back on board, it was able to tell a really nice, enjoyable story. There was a good twist at the end, because the Harrison Ford thing I did not see coming. I was like, nah, they won't kill Han Solo.
I had it spoiled for me.
Oh, see, that's the thing. You didn't know. I didn't tell my mate. This is the best story ever. So, took my mate to the cinema. She's a massive Harrison Ford fan.
Aren't we all?
Watching the film, she's loving it. She's amazing. And then there's the bit of the bit where he gets pushed off, and she turned to me and she just started crying. She was like, "How could you not tell me?" Because I'd already seen it, and I was pissing myself laughing, because she adores Harrison Ford, and she was genuinely heartbroken. And for me, Empire doesn't have that effect on people that had that emotional connection when you're like, you've watched Star Wars, you think, oh, he's safe, plot armor, and then he's dead, and he doesn't come back
To
He's
his
not
own
back
son,
in-
no less.
Sorry,
Was it
To
not
his
a bit,
own son, no less.
yeah.
was it not a bit cheap though?
No, it wasn't cheap.
No, but to me, The Force Awakens feels like an extended Star Wars trailer.
Ooh, that's
That's
harsh.
a big claim.
That's
that is a
hard.
No,
big
don't get me
claim.
wrong. Like, I loved it the first time, but it was very much just like, oh, you remember the Millennium Falcon? Yeah, you like the Millennium Falcon, don't you? We'll give you the Millennium
It
Falcon.
added so much new stuff, though. For me, it added obviously two of the coolest characters in Star Wars. It added BB-8, who we all love.
BB-8, fair enough.
Little
BB-8 better than R2-D2.
Yeah, it's just
Quote
it's true.
me.
It's just true. It's added so much stuff that you don't. But it's because it's smaller stuff rather than big stuff like the Empire does. It does the big changes, the big setup for the final act. Whereas this added a lot of new small stuff and brought back what you previously liked. I think it's a better, more complete film. So I think we should vote on it. And we all know how this is going to go.
I feel bad third time, but
I know,
you know,
but
democracy's got to.
democracy's going to win.
It's going to be a dictatorship next week.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it is your week next week, so.
Yeah,
It is my
I
week
accept
next
that.
week, yeah.
I accept your terms. The Force Awakens is the best Star Wars film of all time.
Yay! So, to recap, we've got at number 10, Last Jedi. Number 9, Phantom Menace. Number 8, Attack of the Clones. This is a test of memory. Number
We really should have written this
7.
down. We really should have written
7
this
is
down.
Solo.
7 is Solo. 6 is Rogue One. 5 is
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. 4 is New Hope. 3 is Revenge of the Sith. 2 is Empire Strikes Back. Sorry, Nathan. And number 1 at the top of the list is Force Awakens as the best Star Wars film. Rise of the Skywalker could blow us all out the water and it could be amazing,
I'm sure it will.
but it's called Rise of Skywalker. So, and I'll just leave you with that.
And the Emperor's back.
Yay!
Yeah,
Ah.
that could be a disaster. That could be amazing. We shall see.
We
They-
shall see.
They've got serious work to do to make me buy the fact that the Emperor's back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
same.
too. There's got to be a real justification and kind of explanation
'Cause
without going into too much detail.
If,
So good luck with that.
If that doesn't work on one level, I think the whole thing's just going to
Yeah.
fall apart, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your predictions, boys? What are we thinking?
I'm
quick
not.
one.
I'm not excited for it myself, really. I'm glad Lando's back. That would be good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Lando.
Other than that, I mean, I like J.J. Abrams,
Yeah, I like JJ.
but he's got a lot of work to do. So
He has got his work
Yeah.
cut out on this one.
if it's like a 7 out of 10, I'll gladly take that.
Fair.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I'm excited for it 'cause it's a new Star Wars film.
Yeah.
But I think at this point I would accept just a strong 7 out of 10. Doesn't have to blow me away. I just want it to end
End on a high.
end on the high, so they don't feel the need to go back and do something else.
Yeah.
Like at this point, just get out of there.
Yeah.
Just get out of there.
The plus point about Last Jedi being terrible is that it doesn't have anything to follow.
Yeah.
So if anything, Last Jedi has helped set up a better film.
I think they've lost
I
quite
like
a few
that
people
positive
though.
outlook.
Also, I lost quite. Like I know.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of staff on that film.
I know 2 or 3 people that didn't like Force Awakens, really hated Last Jedi, and they're not even going to see this,
Yeah.
and they're like lifelong Star Wars fans.
They've also lost quite a lot of the staff as well in pre-production because they completely changed it when JJ came in. So like all
Really?
the plans changed. Yeah, about 2 years ago. So it'll be interesting to see what the hell is going on.
And they've lost Captain Phasma without her
Yeah.
ever having a chance to do anything, which is quite frustrating.
It is. It is
To be
a
fair,
shame.
Star Wars never does that. Snoke, Darth Maul,
Boba Fett
Boba Fett,
got eaten.
Grievous.
Oh yeah, General Grievous. What a lad. Anyway, we're going to end on our end segment, which is going to be called Quickfire Questions until we can think of a better name. So for this week, we've got questions for George that me and Nathan have come up with. But what we'd like is for anybody who wants to ask us some questions, preferably film questions, to tweet into us. Nathan, you've got the Twitter because you made it. So
I have.
go.
You put me on the spot now.
Put you on the spot. Go on,
It's-
because I remember it.
It's at 3GTF Podcast.
3GTF podcast.
The number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. If you can tweet in with your questions, that'd be ace. We're going to try and get some fan questions in next week. So it's going to be Nathan's week next week. So any questions you got for Nathan, let us know.
Keep it PG.
For now, we'll ask George's questions. So I'll start. George.
Yes.
If you could have anybody direct Rise of Skywalker that wasn't J.J. Abrams, who would it be?
I mean, we discussed this before the podcast, but Edgar Wright.
Yes.
Hands down.
Edgar Wright is the best. Okay. My next question. What's your most hated filming trope?
In what way? Just the kind of thing.
The thing that triggers you the most when you see it on screen, you genuinely want to punch the director.
Oh, that is a good one.
Well, you think I'll give you mine? Mine is Dude Bros. Like, we'll get through this together, bro. Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Every time I see that, I want to cry, which is unfortunate as a fan of Marvel films.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I think mine is a cop-out happy ending. So they're building it up for this disastrous ending, which is going to have a big impact. And then all of a sudden, bam, switches with 5 minutes to go, and everyone's happy. Yeah. That is cheap, and I don't like that.
Yeah, that's fair. And my final one, who is your favourite Spider-Man? Yes, there is a right answer.
Yes, and it is Jake Johnson.
Oh,
so there we go. Peter B. Parker. Shout
Peter
out.
B. Parker. There we go. That was the answer I was looking for. To be fair, because Peter B. Parker is amazing.
Yeah.
On so many levels.
Yeah, he has all the heart of Spider-Man, but he is just hilarious.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And then Tobey Maguire. Just saying.
Okay, let's move on. So what's your...
Tom Holland exists.
Tom Holland does exist, but Tobey Maguire was my childhood, and nostalgia wins.
And Andrew Garfield is clearly top.
Oh my god, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is so bad.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the worst.
It's probably
film.
the worst comic book film of all time.
No, it's not, because Daredevil exists.
I haven't seen it, so don't take your word for it.
Don't watch it.
Well, exactly. I've been told enough times.
It's Ben Affleck and latex.
Okay, now I'm interested.
Okay, so my first question is, what is your favourite horror film?
Get Out.
Okay.
Oh, right, I'm sorry.
Nice.
Yeah, nice and easy. Second one, most overrated film.
Endgame. Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
Didn't get on with it as well as a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people say it's the best comic book film of all time. And it's just not true.
It's not. It's Amazing Spider-Man or The Dark Knight.
This was a terrible idea. This is a terrible idea. Start a podcast.
Regrets everywhere.
Start a podcast with people who disagree on your film opinions.
Nathan will not be joining us next week. He has retired.
I'm just going to go and cry in a dark room after this. Maybe watch Endgame. Last one. What is the angriest you've ever been in the cinema?
Last Jedi, easy. Like you say, coming out of that after 2 years of just pure excitement for it. All the things that they built up in The Force Awakens, butchered with quite a bit of arrogance. I didn't go on Twitter and abuse Ryan Johnson. I'd like to clarify. He, like I say, he doesn't deserve it.
And you shouldn't either.
And you shouldn't either.
Ryan Johnson deserves our love.
Yeah, I'm sure Get Out will be... Knives Out will be great.
Knives Out is going to be so good.
It's going to redeem him.
We're going to be reviewing that in 2 weeks, actually.
Yes. Good plug.
No, I don't. Did you like the segue there? Yeah. I was quite chuffed with that. So we're going to have a 3-weekly format that we're going to try and use. So this week, we obviously have done a ranking, our official ranking. Then we're going to be doing opinion pieces. So next week, we're going to be looking at CGI people in film. Does it work or is it just a bit weird? And then we're going to be going on to reviews. So we're going to be reviewing a film every 3 weeks, apart from a few weeks after that, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, that brings us to the end of our show.
Brilliant.
That wasn't too painful, was it?
Not for us two.
Not for you two.
Yeah, well, poor old Nathan, just getting...
Oh, yeah, poor old Nathan. Sorry, Nathan.
Just feeling the wrath of democracy.
The wrath.
I apologise.
Yeah. You're like the Lib Dems.
I'm like, what?
You're like the Lib Dems.
I'm like the Lib Dems.
Yeah. You mean well.
And we'll end it there. So thank you very much for listening. Give us a like. Listen to our show next week. Follow us on Twitter. All that good stuff. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.
Bye.